This is a massive admission that what happened in Abu Dhabi was not correct, that the race should not have restarted in that way. And sadly, that in the eyes of a lot of people is going to taint and tarnish Max Verstappen's championship. Now, I'm absolutely convinced Max Verstappen's never going to feel bad about it. He's got the World Championship trophy. The history books will always say he's the champion, but it's such a shame that such a fantastic and historic rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen, one of the best championships we've ever seen, ended in that fashion. And, even if Red Bull want to deny it, this is the FIA saying this guy made a huge mistake in a huge moment of the championship. Whether you're a Verstappen fan or a Hamilton fan, doesn't really matter. It was such a shame that it ended that way. And we should have had a celebration after that race of what a fantastic championship it had been. One guy beating the other guy on track, and unfortunately, the race shouldn't have gone down the way it did. That's the long and short of what's come out today. And Masi, unfortunately, his name is going to be kind of a byword for that mistake and for that that botched job from the FIA's perspective. And sadly, people talking baseball, there's a lot of records with asterisks next to them. I think Verstappen's title in the eyes of a lot of people is going to have the same thing next to it. And it's hard to argue against that when the FIA makes a decision like this. So Massi's effectively been replaced by two people. It's Niels Wittich and Eduardo Freitas, who are both race directors for other racing series. They're going to alternate, presumably so that there's not a clash in the schedule for those two guys. What's really interesting about this decision and this revamp is that they are now going to be supported by Herbie Blash, who's in his 70s. The significance of Herbie Blash being there is that Blash used to work as Charlie Whiting's second in command. Now, Charlie Whiting was the guy whose sudden death at the start of the 2019 season is what elevated Masi into the role. And one of the things that I think Masi always struggled with was the comparison to the Whiting era. People always said, well, things were much better in the Whiting days, which was a bit unfair on Masi because there was never the amount of radio communications broadcast then as there are now. But bringing Blash in there again has kind of answered that criticism of things used to be better back in the day. Another key thing, and this was a huge problem last year that started out from an entertainment point of view, and I think shows you that where there is a line between entertainment and sporting integrity, is there will no longer be messages from the teams to the race director, whichever one of the two guys it will be, race to race. And I think that was one of the things that it didn't just come out in Abu Dhabi. I mean, famously, Toto Wolff was asking Michael Masi if he'd seen an email that he'd sent him after Hamilton and Verstappen crashed at the British Grand Prix. So clearly, the amount of communication that Masi was dealing with last year complicated his job. And this, again, is an admission that, like in the old days, those things shouldn't go to the race director. They never used to go to Charlie Whiting. Herbie Blash used to deal with them. Him coming in now suggests they've gone to an older school style of governance. And crucially now, they use the term VAR, which obviously has been controversial in football, but there'll be now a room away from the race circuit where there'll be a team of stewards who can look over all the decisions in real time, away from the pressure of the race director's room, and work with the race director in real time. So I think that's going to make a tangible difference to the decisions that are made. And it takes the pressure away from the shoulders of one person, because I think, ultimately, what I would say about Michael Masi is clearly overwhelmed in that job, always seemed like a decent guy. And I think the pressure of the job effectively meant he made a pretty huge mistake in a high pressure situation. So hopefully this new structure means that won't ever happen again in Formula One, but time will tell. But it seems like a big step forward from the system we've had in place for the past couple of years.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.